Yeah. Well, appreciate everybody coming out. Another exciting day. We increased our signees to 21 today. Really excited about the group of guys that we signed. Just to touch on that real quick, signed Dayton Wade, a receiver out of Georgia. He was the 4A Player of the Year in Georgia this past season. Really excited about him. Signed a defensive end, Celestin Haba. He's elite pass rusher out of junior college. Led the JUCO in sacks last year. Wes Dorsey, an offensive tackle out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Big, long tackle, has tremendous upside. Really looking forward to getting him here. And then we had an addition of Corey Munson, the kicker out of Georgia, who I'm really, really excited about. Big, strong leg kid, can boot it really well. So those are the 4 guys that we're announcing today. I left a couple spots open on purpose. I think recruiting's changing a little bit. We're entering the portal time and age where guys are transferring and those kind of things. So I always want to save a couple spots. So we're going to save those spots for later in the spring and kind of see what happens in that area. But overall, really excited about this class. If you break it down by position, we were around 5 receivers, 4 defensive linemen, 4 O-linemen, 4 defensive backs, 2 specialists, and 1 tight end. I really felt like between the first signing period and the second signing period, we really met our needs. A lot of these guys are already here. 11 of these guys are already in school here. They've been training over the past couple weeks. These guys are doing a great job. I think they'll help us early next year. And so it's an exciting time, and really looking forward to working with these guys. With that being said, any questions?
No, you said you wanted to add difference makers, I guess adding the leading sack.
Yeah.
Got most sacks in all junior college. That counts in that category, right?
No question. I think, in this league, I've said it before, say it again, it's an offensive-driven league. You got to be able to get to the quarterback, and Celestin will do that for us. He does a great job rushing the passer. He'll be a great addition to our other ends. I think, we have some pretty good guys in that area already as well. So I'm excited about him, and I think we address the needs in our skill positions, particularly receiver. We love to throw the ball here. We need some guys that can go get it, and so I think with the addition of the receivers that we signed, 5 total, it'll be really good for us. So looking forward to it.
Is he more like a hand in the dirt defensive lineman, or can you stand him up and do?
You can do both, yeah. I mean, he's done both in junior college. Whatever he likes the best, that's probably what we'll do. I think he's a good third down pass rusher, and so we'll see what fits his skill trait the best.
Do you feel like you were solid at that position now following this recruiting class?
I do. I really do. If you look at it across the board, we're talking about that as a staff today. There's not really a huge area of need. Now, there's always going to be areas where you'd like to add some more talent to it, but we have a great foundation. I really feel good about where we're at. I think we've met all our needs in this class.
How do you see Corey Munson fitting into the team next year?
I think he's a guy that will compete early. He has a huge leg. I watching him this past season, all the kicks he made. I mean, don't hold me to it, but I think he made a 52-yarder, a 47-yarder in high school. That says a lot, and so I think he's a guy that comes in early and really does a good job competing and trying to win the job.
How much does it help getting those 11 guys in earlier to kind of acclimate not only to Western, but to your playbook, lifestyle, their new teammates?
I think it's huge, and those guys have done a great job already. I mean, I was talking to Coach Velkamp, and he's singing their praises, saying, man, this group is a different group. They're working really hard. They're pushing our veterans, to make those guys work harder as well. Our veterans have done a great job of embracing those guys and bringing them along as well. So, I think it'll be interesting when we hit spring ball to see, who can compete early and try to go win a job. But, I hope we can do that every year, to be quite honest with you. That's kind of the way recruiting's going. I think guys are graduating earlier now, and you're getting the transfer guys and those kind of things. So that's what we'll try to work towards each year.
What position groups will you be looking to add to with those extra few spots you said you had open?
You know, I use it as the best available term. I really do. It's not one particular position. I think anytime you can get a really good player, you know, you go ahead and pull the trigger and take that guy. I love the fact, too, that now you can scholarship guys, that even if they're not graduates, you know, even if they have to sit, you know, you may be able to say, hey, he's worth taking, let him sit a year, and then, you know, come compete the following year. So I'm not going to pinpoint one particular area, but we'll probably just take the best available in those positions. But we will be looking throughout spring to see who does come available.
You have 3 scholarship quarterbacks right now. Is that the number that you expect to go into the season with? Or?
Not necessarily. You never know how that's going to play. My ideal world is to have 4 to 5, you know. Quarterback position will be a position we evaluate for sure, you know, coming out of spring to see if there's anybody that's worthy of us trying to get. So we'll be keying on that position as well, as long as and all the other positions too.
Coach, I know it's just been an absolute whirlwind for you, but since I've visited with you a few times, I go back to November 27th, the day you were hired, and I'm sure you're sitting there going, okay, I got to hit the ground running, my staff's got to hit the ground running, recruiting, I got to get a staff. Back then, when you were thinking of best case scenario, good case scenario, or bad case scenario as far as recruiting, you sit here today, did it go as well as you expected or even better than expected? It
was better than expected. I had an advantage, number one. I think the previous staff, my hat's off to them. I think they did a nice job recruiting. So I thought there was some commitments already there that were good commitments that we needed to keep. We added our guys to that. It went seamless. I think with our staff, current staff, that we were able to hire them so fast. We were able to get guys on the road very quickly to, just to establish that consistency, that, things aren't up in the air. That helped a lot. So it went a lot better than what I expected it to be. I'm really happy where we are today with this class.
If you could only pick one word to describe this group right now, one word to describe them, and I know it's going to be a good word. What would that word be?
For our team or for this signing class?
This signing class.
Oh, one word for this signing class. Future. How about that? Future. Put me on the spot there. That's all right. That's okay.
Having some staff turnover the last few weeks, is that just something you kind of expect nowadays with the way that, how long the carousel goes?
Yeah. I think, in the coaching world today, it's kind of like recruiting. There's 2 cycles. There's right after the season, and then it kind of dies down for the holidays. And then there's this whole January, February, sometimes even March period where, you get those phone calls and people, are saying, hey, I would love to talk to this guy. We did have 2 coaches leave us. I think it says a lot about our staff that those guys were recruited off our staff, that, that they were wanted. Going into this job, knowing the dynamics of how the coaching world works, I planned for that. I will always have people in place that work in-house for us that aren't the 10 full-time guys, but they're kind of the next in line guys. Did that on purpose for these exact situations. And, the first one that, Zach Langford, who we announced as our new tight ends coach. I've worked with Zach twice now. He actually played for me at UAB. Zach joined our staff as off the coaching role, with me knowing at some point in time I would like to get him involved with the staff and be a part of the 10. And it just so happened to work out really fast for him, so that was easy. The next one was Garrett Sachere. I've always tried to hire this guy, to be honest with you, even when I was a coordinator and those kind of things, and it just didn't work out. And so the timing was perfect when Coach Hardesty left. That when I called him, he said, "Brother, I know you have called me a couple times and it didn't work out, but I was glad it did this time." So the timing was right. So I think we really helped ourselves in both those positions, and love our staff. I think we got extremely strong staff. I think they're great educators, great coaches, and they'll be good for our team.
What was it about Zach when he played for UAB that you identified that you thought he might make it for a good coach one day?
Well, I think number one, he's got a great edge to him, to be honest with you. When he was on the field, you know, he was a guy that got after you pretty good. He can flip a switch, you know. I think that's important. He's a good guy in the classroom. He's a good teacher. You know, as a player, I could tell when we were coaching him, he picked up things, retained things well. He became an older player and started to actually coach the younger players, so you could tell right away that he was going to be a good coach. And then when he decided to be a coach, you know, he started out as a graduate assistant, worked extremely hard, worked in recruiting, was a great recruiter, came here to Western Kentucky in a kind of a quality control position, did a great job. So he kept moving up, went down to Montgomery, was an offensive line coach down there, had his own group, excelled doing that. So, you know, he's just done a great job over the years of every role he's been in. He's really mastered a role and excelled in it.
Tyson, can I ask you one more
Sure.
thing? Again, just covering football with the early signing period and this signing period, and then you talked about the transfer situation. You've been around the game for a while. I know recruiting's recruiting, but boy, it certainly feels different. You do it for a living. Is it different? Yeah,
you know, the recruiting portal came available, I think it was October in 2018, this past year. It's going to change recruiting as we know it. It's going to be a major part of everybody, both Power 5, I mean, just across the board in college football. And I think people are smart to position themselves to be able to take advantage of it. So, yeah, I think we're going to start to see a trend moving more and more into that. I don't want to say it's becoming like the NFL with free agency, but it does have a touch and a flair of that. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, man.